You all know the changes in climate, no? Yesterday, day for yesterday, the rain, heavy rain and all those things, which is unusual, okay? Now let us try to understand why these changes in climate happens, okay? See, now is the temperature is increasing, worrying, you know, when there is an increase in temperature, what are the problems we will face? One is the vector-borne diseases will increase. You know, that means, you know, diseases like dengue, chikungunya, COVID, all these will start increasing in a thing. Okay, that's why we have to be careful. Now, when you look at the consequences of the changes in climate, one is the, you know, number of reported natural disasters are increasing, and also the increase in the sea level rise. You know, the coastal area, you know, you would be knowing Karwar, Kundapur, all these are coastal area. You know, when the sea level rises happen, the water will enter the home. Okay, then people cannot reside there and people get killed because of that. That is where we have to be careful on that. Okay. Now, other aspect of changes in climate is, you know, the glacier melting. You know, the snow is melting. See, earlier the snow cover, you know, was this much. This, you know, can you see the orange in this one? And when there is a snow cover, you know, the sunlight used to fall on the snow and it used to reflect back. Okay, because of that, snow continues to be there. There was no heating of the snow was there. But now, you see that snow is reduced in size. You know, glacier melting has happened. Now, only the reflection happened from this region. But this portion, you know, this between this white and orange color, you see that instead of reflecting the energy, you know, there is an absorption of energy. That means, you know, because this becomes warmer and warmer, more and more glacier melting will happen. You know, that means more glacier melting means sea level rise will happen and all those associated problems. Okay. So now this you know that how we pay the price. One is the people are going to this one because of the flood, landslides, mudslides, etc. And especially the poor countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh will pay a heavy price. Okay. So now let us try to summarize what I said so far. How this affects the thing. With the increase in temperature, you just see 0.5 degree increase in temperature, how much damage it creates. Okay. So now for example, coral bleaching, if you look at, see at 1.5, 70% loss would have happened, whereas with the 2 degrees Celsius, it's about 99%. Okay. Then let us look at the species loss. It gives the insect, plants and vertebrate at 1.5 degrees Celsius. See, at 1.5 degree, we would lose 6 species of insect and 8 species of plants and the 4 species of vertebrate. Now, another 0.5 degrees Celsius increase, you see that how this one. See, the number of the insect species that goes extinct would be 80 and number of plants would be 16 and the vertebrate is about the 8 as against the 4. Now, let us look at the drought. You know, the drought means there is no water. 350 million people would have affected with the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Further increase by 0.5 degrees Celsius, it would go up to 410 million, the people would be affected. Okay. Then rise in sea level, you can see that at 1.5 degrees Celsius, 48 centimeters is the increase in temperature, and at the 2 degrees Celsius it is 56 centimeter. And if you look at the millions of the people who are affected, will be about 49 million people going to be affected. Okay. So now there would be a serious water crisis. You know, the water stress by 2025, 120 million to 1 billion in Asia. We are all in Asia. We are going to pay the price. And look at the yield reduction in agriculture. 30% by 2050 in Central and South Asia, and about 50% in by 2020. Already the people have experienced that in African country, and in India by 2100, 60% would be the decline. Okay. And this, to summarize what I said so far, the glacier melt will happen with increase in temperature. There will be flooding, there is a drought and decline in the crop yield. Okay, these are the implications of the changes in climate. And the implication is that when you have drought or a flood, the food security is threatened, and water availability is threatened, and the cities will become more unlivable. Okay, and coastline you will see increase in the sea level rise, and of course public health is affected because of the more and more the vector-borne diseases. Okay, so now if you look at the why it is happening, see the study shows that there is an increase in temperature corresponding to the it is correlated with the increase in carbon dioxide. The greenhouse gases. The carbon dioxide, methane, these are called greenhouse gases. I am sure as a students of science and management, you all know what are greenhouse gases. I saw the poster there. The use, bicycles, not the motorbike. That means you know that when you use motorbike, there is an emission of carbon. Okay, and we are paying the heavy price with the increase in the temperature. Okay, now how does it happen? You all have studied that electromagnetic radiation, that is solar energy, when it comes now at the shorter wavelength, that the energy passes through the atmosphere and there is no absorption of energy. These are the gases that are there in the atmosphere already. Carbon dioxide, methane, water, etc. are already there in certain proportion. But when it increases the concentration, then you will see the problem happening. These are called greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, the fluorinated gases. Why do we call them as the greenhouse gases? Anyone? Why do we call these gases as greenhouse gases? When it covers the atmosphere, it forms a thick sheet. It does not allow the sunlight to escape. Because of that, more and more energy on the earth starts becoming warmer and warmer. For example, when you go out with a helmet, you would see if there is a hot sun, your head gets warmer and warmer. Exactly same thing happens here. But your head gets warmer because of the direct sunlight falling on that. But here, in this case, there is a shield of gases. The light which falls on the earth is not getting the escape to the atmosphere. If it gets reflected, then if there is no warming of the earth happens. Okay. Now you see that long wavelength, of radiation, what it falls from the sun to the earth, then it gets reflected, and the long wave radiation interact with greenhouse gases. Because of this, the long wave radiation interacting with the greenhouse gases, that temperature is trapped there. That corresponds to the higher thermal bands, etc. Okay, and that keeps the earth warmer. Okay, so now see, which all sector contribute to greenhouse gases? One is burning fossil fuel. When you burn fossil fuel, like generating electricity, the coal, etc., you see that greenhouse gases are emitted. Then similarly, deforestation. When you remove the forest, the vegetation helps in the carbon sequestration. When there are green, the plants, during photosynthesis, in the presence of sunlight, they absorb carbon dioxide and they give us the oxygen. Do we require oxygen?
Yes.
Why do we require oxygen? Huh? You're sure you are breathing? You are talking. Okay. So now, yeah. Then, and another interesting thing happens when we do the deforestation. The carbon that is stored in the soil also get escaped. That means we have a double problem. One is carbon is not getting stored in the plant. There are no plants, and whatever carbon that is there in the soil is getting the emitted from the soil. Okay. Then reduction of biodiversity. Why do we need biodiversity? Varieties of plants and animals. Why do we require? Huh? That is, people like me talk. As a child, you tell me what is biodiversity? I asked what is biodiversity. I didn't ask what is the use of biodiversity. Your attempt is good. Tell me. If you answer like this, no, my talk would be different. If you don't answer, no, I'll also sleep and I will start talking to someone on the road. What is biodiversity? Your teacher would have told you. Diversity of biological organism, diversity of plants and animals. That is, varieties of plants and animals are there. When there are varieties of plants and animals, you get variety of food. Because of variety of food, your body gets the immunity, because those variety of food have the medicinal properties. See, the people who eat only one type of food every day for 365 days, they are not healthy. But people who take diverse food, they are healthy. That means biodiversity gives us a food and medicine. Okay. Now, who all cause the changes in climate? You look at North America, Asia. The significant part also comes from Asia. Okay. So now the sector wise, if you look at burning fossil fuel is about 50%. Then industrial process is 24%, deforestation 14%, agriculture is 13%. And if you look at the greenhouse gases composition, the carbon dioxide is 64%. Okay, methane is 19%. If you can come up with the technology to reduce this, you have solved the problem. That is where when there are challenges like climate change, there is also an opportunity for youngsters like you. You can come up with the innovative technology. For example, you see the vehicle which is pure inefficient. That means you have an opportunity to improve the efficiency of the vehicle. Improvement in technology can happen. That can happen only with the youngsters. That's where I want youngsters to be disciplined so that they can think. If they are not disciplined, they will not do much to the system. Okay. Now I will skip these two slides. Okay. Now see the internationally we have come up with the Sustainable Development Goal. There are 17 goals. The United Nations has come up with the agenda that everyone on the earth, because we have only one earth, there should not be any hunger, no poverty, zero hunger, and good health and well-being. These are all the goals of the thing. That is where all the countries have signed this, and we need to move in that direction. Means we should bring down the emissions, the greenhouse gas footprint, etc. Okay. Now with this, let me take you to the second part of my presentation, which is about why I am doing science. As a scientist, we try to understand the process, we come up with the technology, we come up with the various solutions. Why do we do that? See, our agenda is to provide clean air and water and environment to everybody. Clean air, water. Air is required because you all are breathing. If you breathe contaminated air, what will happen? You will have the bronchitis, asthma, and that kind of a cancer and all those problems. And if you see the water, then you have waterborne diseases will be there. Okay. So now, if you want to maintain the clean air and water and environment, you should also maintain the ecosystem. That is where responsible decision making is required, and that is where sensible citizens are required. We all say that when people are environmentally literate, they will manage the resources better. Do you know what is environment literacy means?
Keeping the environment clean, sir.
Try to explain better.
Sir, not throwing garbage here and there, sir.
Very good.
Saving the trees, sir. Watering the plants, sir.
And then?
Sir, that time as you said, using bicycles, sir, not using motorbikes.
Okay, very good, very good. Please be seated, okay? So now, I will take you to the first lesson. What is this? This is a food chain. Look at the food chain carefully. Solar energy is getting converted into the food through the producers, which is eaten by the herbivores, which is eaten by the next level carnivores. Okay. Now when you look at this carefully, there is an energy and material transfer happen from one level to the other level. That's what we talk about in thermodynamic principle. You know, when there is a transfer of energy from one level to the other level, there is a loss of energy. You know, at each stage, we have a loss of energy. For example, solar energy, photosynthetic efficiency of producers, if you look at, it's about 10%, less than 10%. That means how to optimize 90%, you can think about it. And finally, whatever is left in the system gets converted into elemental form by bacteria and fungi. That's why bacteria and fungi, we call them as a biodegraders or a bioengineers. They degrade the system. When they degrade this thing, no, you will not have the problem of the waste. You know, when you look at the nature, there is nothing called waste, isn't it? Everything gets synthesized. Where do you see waste? I'm asking question. Where do you see waste? You will see waste where?
Industry.
Waste people are there. Who are these waste people? See, they have fallen in love with the plastic. So everything they want, plastic cup for drinking tea, plastic plate for eating, a plastic bottle for drinking water. See, everything is plastic. You can brand them as a waste fellows. Okay? So the lesson is, say no to the synthetic material which are alien to your system. Okay? So now, let us look at what is the variety of plants and animals that are there in the earth. See, our scriptures talks about 8 to 12 million the species. You know, in science we have estimated about 1.3 to 1.5 million species. 1.3 to 1.5 million species we are estimating. Out of that, 15% or 10% we know their medicinal properties. So, percent of 1.5 million species we know the medicinal properties are biochemical composition, which means still 85% of the species, their properties we do not know. Biochemical composition we do not know. That is where we need more and more youngsters coming to the science. You know, today morning I spent few minutes in principal room. It was not a very comfortable journey for me. When I looked at the notice board there, he had written 14 students for BSc first year and 14 for second year, 11 for the third year, which is not a good sign for a country like ours. We need more and more youngsters coming to the science, especially youngsters like you. You know, I am very happy to see you people have come to the science. You are all, I am sure there is some management students also. Don't think that money is the only thing which gives you satisfaction. Money might give some kind of a arrogance, but only the science gives you the satisfaction. When you have become scientifically competent, you will also have money. Say, person like me, we don't have money problem. That is because we are scientifically competent. Okay? So now, let us. I work in Western Ghats. My study region is from Kerala to Gujarat. You know, we look at the Western Ghats. You know, why do we study Western Ghats? Because 100 plus rivers originate. And let us look at how many species of plants and animals are there on the earth. We said 1.5 million species. Which part of the globe we have a highest number of plants and animals? Let us look at it. As you move latitudinally, you will see at this region, 8 to 14 degree latitude, we have highest number of plants and animals. Sir, behind you, highest number of plants and animals, it is at 8 to 14 degree latitude. That corresponds to Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu part of Western Ghats. That means some of us who have come from Western Ghats, we have inherited that resources, rich diversity of plants and animals. It's our responsibility to conserve them, to protect them. Okay? If we conserve biodiversity, we are also answering the changes in climate problem also. Okay? Now, our study shows there would be increase in temperature because the deforestation happening in the Western Ghats. The 1.5 degree Celsius increase in temperature, the Kerala becomes warmer and the rainfall pattern will change. Rain which is supposed to spread 4 to 6 months in Kerala will come in few weeks. You know, you have large quantum of rain in a shorter duration. We call it as a high intensity rainfall. With high intensity rainfall, what will happen? There will be floods. With the floods, there will be landslides and mudslides, as it happened in Wayanad. You know, I had predicted Wayanad and Kodagu in 2018 when I published the article. Myself, my student, when we published, we said that increase in temperature is happening, the flooding will happen. But unfortunately, people didn't understand that. And Wayanad, entire population was wiped out in one village, two villages. No, that's an unfortunate thing. Okay, now how did we predict? Let us try to understand that. See, we use the picture of the earth. You know, when you have your picture about 10 years back and today, you can find out what changes are happening. Now she is taking a picture of all of you. She will tell me who is talking continuously. You know, when she communicates to me, I will look at them. The remotely we are sensing. She is also alerting me who is talking. You know, that's where camera comes to your direction. That means sensing is possible. Similarly, you know, if you have a picture of the earth, now I said that if you have a picture of yourself 10 years back and today, I can see what changes have happened in you. Isn't it? Similarly, if I have a picture of the earth, I can say what changes are happening in the earth. Earth is covered with what? Forest, agriculture, buildings, the open areas, etc. We can see how much forest is declining. See, we have used the remote sensing data from 1985 to 2018. It shows that green is decreasing. Green is an evergreen forest is decreasing. There has been a 5% reduction in the last 4 decades. And today, we have only 10% of the area under evergreen forest in Western Ghats. And not only forests are decreasing, we are also seeing that forests are getting fragmented. You know, how did we do this analysis? I said from 1970 onwards, we have the picture of the earth at every 21 or 30 days interval. That is the big data we have. You know, every child wants to become a computer specialist. No, today, for them, this kind of data analysis becomes an opportunity. And today we have AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. You know, we use that AI and ML to analyze this. What is the advantage of AI and ML? You know, earlier to analyze one district, I used to take 8 to 9 months. But now, entire Western Ghats, my student has covered in 6 months. See, that is how you are empowered with this kind of technique so that your job becomes faster. Okay? Now, we also looked at what is the carbon stored in the plant. You know, when the photosynthesis happens, the plant store their carbon in their the trunk, bark, etc. We quantified how much above ground biomass, below ground biomass and soil carbon. And our study shows there is a 1.3 million gigagram of carbon stored in the Western Ghats. And every year about 37,000 gigagram of carbon gets stored. Okay, that is equivalent to the emission that happens in Trivandrum, Cochin, Mangalore, etc. That means nature is maintaining the balance. But what is the economic worth of that? See, when you all do some job, you are paid. Okay, now the forests are doing the job of removing the carbon. Okay, now what is the amount we can assign to that? It amounts to 100 billion rupees or $1.4 billion. Okay, so now we have also predicted 2031, what is the likely scenario? And there will be further reduction in the forest. You know, we will lose further reduction. And as of today, there is a 18% reduction in the forest cover in the region. And we have only 18% under the forest. And the temperature would increase by 0.5 degrees Celsius. Further increase will happen. Okay? So now, let us move to the next. Let us look at the diversity of plants and animals in the region. You know, these animals are there where water is there. If water is not there, how the diversity of animals will happen? You know, variety of animals. In one of the stream, we identified a fish which is good for the medicinal properties. You know, that fish can be used for curing the bronchitis, asthma problem. Okay? Now, I thought that, okay, this medicinal property would help. We brought to Bangalore, we cultured in our labs. But what we cultured in our lab didn't have the medicinal properties. You know, that may, for the organism to have medicinal property, you have to make sure that they grow in their habitat. For this fish to be there in that habitat, water should be there 12 months. For water to be there 12 months, the forest should have the green cover. That is where the linkage comes from the forest to the fish. Okay. Now, with the changes in climate, one of the implications we are going to face is the severe water crisis. And with the water crisis, no humans can survive on the earth. In such a scenario, will other organisms survive? Let us look at that. For example, frogs. We call frogs as amphibians. Why do we call frogs as amphibians?
They live in water and land.
Huh?
They live in both water and land.
Can you refine your answer? Your attempt is good. Okay, I will help you. Frogs has two stages in its life cycle. Look at my answer, your answer. Frogs have two stages in its life cycle. One is a young stage, juvenile stage, which is a tadpole stage, and the other is an adult stage. In the tadpole stage, it is in the water. Adult stage is on the land. Because of the two different kind of habitat requirement during its life cycle from juvenile to the adult stage, it's called amphibian. That's a dual life. Okay, now if there is no water, what will happen to the frog? Tadpole cannot survive. If tadpole cannot survive, frog cannot survive. But we come across one species of frog which bypasses the tadpole stage. See, we went to the drier area. There was no water, but still the frog was reproducing. When we did the analysis, we saw that this particular species, Philatus leucorhinus, it bypasses the tadpole stage itself. If the tadpole stage is there, then only you require water. If I don't have that stage itself, if the young ones comes out, then I don't require water. So that is what we saw that in the field. Then we got that fertilized egg to the Bangalore. We monitored in our lab. On 14th day, we saw the younger ones coming out of the fertilized egg. So that means the frogs have learned how to get adapted to a situation when there is a water crisis. Without water, no one can survive, but frogs know how to survive. This is called adaptation. You understood? I will come to you. I will come to you, don't worry. Okay. Now, people think that land is there. They can put any number of people. See, take the history of Easter Island. People expanded the Easter Island. Then finally there was no water. They have to vacate the island. Okay? The same thing will happen to Bangalore. I have been telling the government of Karnataka very often. If you see, my videos are also available. My interviews are available online. Let us look at another example. Last leg of Vijayanagara kingdom failed because of the water crisis. The last kingdom in Vijayanagara didn't survive because there was a water crisis. So that means water will decide the fate of the region. Okay? Now, as a children, how you can reduce the water footprint? Suppose if you start eating more of the pulses and millet, you have reduced the water requirement. Let us say, what is the benefit of eating protein, the pulses? It helps in weight management, optimal brain functioning. When brain functions, you will be very attentive in the class. You will not talk with your friend in the neighbor. That is what happens with the people who have a good brain. Okay? Then it is a good source of vitamins and minerals. And it is also prevent the cell and gene damage. And it reduces the risk of cancer. It controls the diabetes and listen. You might ask, how it will happen? What is the proof? Isn't it? This is what generally people say. See, one of my colleagues who had diabetes, okay, and blood pressure, higher blood pressure, he started taking the food like this. He has 5 varieties of vegetable, 5 varieties of fruit, and a pulse. Now today he is 72. He doesn't have diabetes or the blood pressure. So that means this healthy diet will help you in maintaining your body. Okay? Now when you start eating the millet or the pulses, we need to grow more pulses and millet. So let us see what is the water requirement for pulses and millet. Pulses, a kg of pulse require 200 liters of water, while the millet, it requires 150 liters of water per kg of. And the rice, you require 3000 liters of water. and wheat requires 5,000 liters, and sugar requires 15,000 liters of water. And also in the villages where the wild animals comes, no, like in Madikeri, etc. If you grow pulses, wild animals don't eat pulses. There won't be human-wildlife conflict. You can reduce the human-wildlife conflict also. That means when you start consuming pulses, you see that water footprint also has come down. That is where we will have a healthy planet. When there is a healthy planet, you know, there is a harmonious state of mind, body and spirit, that we call it as a holistic health, okay? Now with that, from Western Ghats, I will come to the Bangalore. You know, let us try to understand. The Bangalore faces severe water crisis. Why? Because we have lost water urbanism in the planning process. That means everywhere where you see the greenery, people remove the greenery, convert that into paved surface. The transition from the porous surface to the paved surface has contributed to this problem. Okay. Now the solution is what? Create ecological pore spaces through planting of trees, park, forest, wetlands, etc. Okay. Now there are various locations. Severe water crisis was faced, especially Bangalore East and Bangalore North. Okay. And now let us understand how was Bangalore earlier and today. In 1800, today Bangalore is 740 square kilometer. In 740 square kilometer, in 1800, we had 1452 water bodies were there and 80% green cover. Because of that, during that time, temperature in a May month or a summer month was about 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. And in December, for few days, the temperature was about 0 degrees Celsius. And we were growing apples in Bangalore, a place called Palace Orchard, not very far from here. Okay, Palace Ground, we were growing apple. But today, from 1452 water bodies, we have come down to 216 water bodies. And green cover in the city is less than 3%. Okay, you all said that plants will give oxygen. Now, if we are removing the plants, who will give oxygen? I am asking a question. If you are removing plants, who will give oxygen? Have you worried about it? Okay, that is where I said city, which was a garden city, has become a garbage city and it's a dead city now. And when you look at Bangalore topography, it's an undulating terrain. See, earlier river was passing through the Bangalore. There was a river passing like this. People put the pond at regular interval. That's where we had the lake. 1452 lakes were there. But today we have 193 lakes. This gives the 3D model of Bangalore. Okay. Now, why the water crisis happened in Bangalore? First is, look at how Bangalore has lost green. See, using remote sensing data, you can find out how much green cover is there. See, in 1973, 68% green cover was there. Most of you were not born at the time in this room. Only one or two are born before that. Okay? And 90 with industrialization at Pune, at Pune and Koramangala, you see changes happening there. The red is buildings, roads, etc. Okay? Then 99-2000, you see that with IT-BT sector coming in the outskirts, changes have happened. Now 2006, further intensification 2009, and see, from 7.97% red in 1973, now it has become 86% red. Now you all must be knowing how much green cover should be there in a region. Your teachers must have told you, no? What should be the green cover in the region, what percentage? No, I am asking a question. If you are breathing, then what do you require? She said oxygen is required. How much carbon you will give out? Will you give out carbon dioxide during respiration? How much carbon dioxide you are giving out? All youngsters, 980 grams per person per day, 1 kg. And people like me, seniors, 540 grams per person per day. Now, who takes the carbon from the atmosphere? The plants during photosynthesis, or again the water body. How much carbon it removes? 1 hectare of the forest removes about 6 to 9 tons of carbon. Okay? By that ratio, for every human being, there should have been 1 to the 7 to 8, the plant should have been there, trees should have been there. See, if you look at Bangalore, from 1973 to 2021 or 22, we saw 1078% increase in concrete area. We lost 88% loss in vegetation and 79% loss in the water body. Okay, situation we have reached like this. You know, people have to wear, they have to use oxygen cylinder. Since you are young, you may not feel that. Come to the some of the region, people are using oxygen cylinder in the night. Okay. Now, let us see how many trees are in the Bangalore. This is my campus, the Indian Institute of Science campus. About 400 acres. We just mapped how many trees are there in the campus using GPS. We linked that with the remote sensing data. This exercise we did it in couple of wards. And when we did that, linked with the remote sensing data, we found that in Bangalore there is a 14,78,000 trees are there for a population of 95 lakh. That means 9.5 million people. That means, what is the ratio? For every 7 person, there is 1 tree. How many trees are required per person? I said 7 to 8 trees are required by the quantum of carbon dioxide you give out. Now, what I am talking is nothing new. See, you read Bible. Bible talks about the nature conservation at least 320 times. At least when I read it, I counted. And Quran talks of the imminent war if you pollute the water. That's where when you visit Dargah, good Dargah, like in Kadapa or in the Ajmer, you have to wash your feet and finger with a clean water. That's where there is a well in Dargah. You have to pull water and wash your feet and finger, then only you can go to the Dargah. That means they thought that if you practice in Dargah, you will also practice at home and in the community. Okay? In the literature which I follow, there is a link between the water, children and the tree. See, if you have a well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake, 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar, 10 sarovar is equal to 1 child, and 10 children are equal to 1 tree. That means, benefit of having 10 children you can also have by planting and nurturing a tree. Now I'll put it other way. Those who cut the tree, they are murdering their own 10 children. Don't you think our scriptures talk so eloquently about what we are supposed to follow? Okay? Now, see the benefit of a tree. You can have a classroom like this under a tree. You will have got oxygen. You will never talk in that classroom. You will never sleep also in the classroom. Teacher will be so comfortable. So, because of carbon dioxide extra, carbon dioxide get concentrated in the last bench, That's where you see more and more youngsters sitting in the last bench will be keep talking. Why? See, this girl sitting there, she was talking. When she is sitting in the front row, there is no talk. Because there is a oxygen transfer happening. Am I right? Okay, now let us look at how many water bodies are there in Bangalore. 1973, in Bangalore city we had 716 water bodies. Today it's about 209 water bodies. That's where we lost 79% of the water body. And because of losing water body, we have flooding happening. Yesterday you would have seen airport, every place you saw that flooding happening, okay? Now, these are all the regions where the groundwater shortage is there, okay? Now, let us look at I will skip some of the slides, okay? How this water contamination affects us. The people grow vegetables in the downstream of the lake, okay? And people eat fish that grows in the lake. And also people, that the green plant that grows in the lake goes as a fodder to the cattle. We collected all the sample, fish, vegetable, as well as the milk. And when we analyze those samples, see, as a researcher, as a students of science, what will we do? We collect the sample, we analyze in the lab. When we analyze that, we saw there is a heavy metal. Now, if the heavy metal is there in the food, what are the problems? Is having heavy metal in our food, is it a good or bad? You know what are heavy metals? Okay, you find out from your teacher tomorrow, okay? I'll not get into that, I will take another 1 hour to explain. But when heavy metals get into our food, you know the cancer will increase, kidney failure will increase. Cancer, Bangalore is number 1. Kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today it's 1 in 5,000. You know, when I go to some of the areas, I see young children having the kidney problem. In Ramgonalli, what was the kidney? Then I went to KK High School, thinking that KK English High School may be better situation. Principal took me to the LKG. The girl child had 1 kidney problem. Then the same school, 8th standard, the 2 girls had the kidney problem. 1 girl had both the kidney had lost. After a year, when I visited the same school, I asked principal, where is that girl who had lost the kidney? I want to talk to her. The principal told me she is no more. That means we are losing the youth. See, you youngsters are the asset of the nation. Losing you people is not good for the country. Because of the pollution. See, that is where you need to understand how pollution affects. You know, in the BSc, the science students can do this kind of experiments, okay? There are lakes nearby, you can do that, okay? See, we developed the Bangalore Urban Information System during water crisis. This portal became very, you just in a Google Play Store, you give the keyword BUIS, okay? Yeah. And similarly, we prepared Bangalore Lake Information System, okay? Now, I will just come to the last part because I need to leave, okay? How we can solve the problem of Bangalore, okay? We understood there are problems in Bangalore. One is wastewater that is going out of your house is getting into my lake. See, you are all disposing the wastewater. In the early morning, you will wash cloth, you will go to toilet, all the water come to my lake. How to solve the problem? See, what we did is, we came up with the innovative technology to do that. And we create the mini forest in the campus and also educating the people, you know, bring awareness among the people, okay? So, now, what did we do in Jaipur? You know, my study shows Jaipur Lake surrounding, there were 30 wells were there in 2005. Okay, we analyzed the water quality. We found nitrate in the water. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. How nitrate comes to the groundwater? Because people are letting sewage into the water body. Sewage had N and P. Nitrogen gets into the water because we all eat protein and we wash cloth with detergent. That's how P gets in. N and P is getting into the water body. When we dispose that in the lake, you know, surrounding bore wells will have the nitrate problem. So then I pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. At that time, what I did, I put the constructed wetland and algal pond for treating the wastewater. After secondary treatment, water passes through the constructed wetland and algal pond. This is a nature-based solution. You know, we chose the plant which have the ability to take N and P. You know, marshy plant like colocasia and all those things, typha, etc. When you go to lake, no, you will see some grasses and all. Those are the plants we planted because they uptake N. There is less N in the water. Similarly, algae takes the phosphorus. That's why less phosphorus in the water. That means we have removed N and P and water. That's where the treatment happens. Today, surrounding Jaipur Lake, there are 300 wells are there. None of the wells have nitrate problem. So at least I would say, mind science has given 300 well users clean water. Don't you see that's a good thing?
Yes.
Okay. Now the another lake, Wetlands and Bahadur is getting rejuvenated. We did a rejuvenation blueprint, okay? How to rejuvenate? For that, we analyze the water quality, sediment in the lake. These are our sampling point. We found out how much sediment is there in the Wetlands and Bahadur lake, okay? So our study shows there is 11 million cubic meter of the silt in that lake. One of the lake, you know, Bahadur lake, silt didn't have heavy metal. You know what we did? I had a meeting with local farmers because I am in the National Green Tribunal. I gave that silt to the farmers, 400 acres of the farmers. You know, after 4 months when I met farmers, you know, I got a royal welcome. You know, farmers had got a bumper crop. They loaded my vehicle with that. Okay? And each farmer tells they got 1.5 lakh additional benefit because of the silt in the lake. You know, silt in the lake has higher nutrient N and P. You don't have to use fertilizer. Since you are not using fertilizer, and also since silt has a higher nutrient, your crop will become a bumper crop. You know, yield is bumper crop. So that's how they are benefited. See how the science benefits the local people. You go and talk to the farmers there. Okay. So now we also sensitize the youth through the symposium. Once in 2 years we organize. Just last week we organized the 14th event. You know, children do the experiment. You know, these children are monitoring the carbon. Similarly, water quality they are trained, and you know the neighborhood mapping. All these small experiment children did, and they came to the symposium. They attended 4 days event, the international symposium. There are national experts like me. International experts are also there. Children listened to them. On the 4th day, they did the presentation. We were also benefited by the children's knowledge. Okay, that's how the capacity building happens. Okay. Now we created water body in the campus. You know, this is a lab for my students who work on biofuel. Not only students are happy, I also have water in the campus. You know, when we looked at how water is surviving, when we did the biodiversity mapping, we found there is an adequate number of fish which the otter can survive on. That means if you facilitate the system, nature knows how to create the ecosystem. Okay, this is Lena otter. Okay, so then whenever I meet people, I also met them to create a water body. So I happened in the Mudbidre dry area, there was a drought situation. 2016, this saint I gave a proposal. He asked me how to solve the water problem. We gave a proposal how to create a water body, what should be the size of the thing. You know, within 15 days he creates the water body. The success is because of the youth. You know, when youngsters are there, they are sensible. They implement the thing. And similar thing, when I saw the success is because the student from Alva's college were there. Even CEO of Alva is also quite sensible. So I gave a medicine to him next year to create a water body in his campus. He created a water body which stores 25 lakh liters of water. Because of that, surrounding borewells all got energized. You know, last year there was no rain in the Mudbidre, but this region, this particular taluk, there was no rain, but still the particular taluk faced survived because of this storing the water in the lake and groundwater. You know, that is the best way to the deposit the water in the desert. You know, I'll put it as simple word. This CEO who met me, when he met me, before he took my medicine of creating water body, you know, he was a bachelor. But after creating water body, he got a wonderful partner who take care of his family. So that means nature also benefits you. Okay. Now come to my campus. You will see this climber. You know, I was fascinated by the architecture of the climber. I brought the pot with the 14 seeds to the Bangalore. You know, out of 14 seeds, I planted 7 seeds in 7 locations in the campus. Among that, only one location it has survived. That is next to this building where I have been working for 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. Otherwise, why other 6 places it did survive? Now, in front of that department, we created a mini forest. In a 2 hectares area, 49 native saplings, you know, native species, 500 saplings were planted. You know, way back in 90s. You know, at that time the region was infested with Parthenia. Look at the groundwater in that region at that time, 150 feet. Today, after creating this mini forest, you get a feel of the rainforest, and you see the diversity of animals like slender lories, snakes, etc. And more importantly, groundwater which was 150 feet earlier, today it's at 10 feet. Don't you see the changes happening there? And temperature is another 2 degrees lower. So now that's how you can solve the problem of the region. That's what we communicate to the youngsters. Today, here also you are listening something similar to that. You know, my audience is 1,000 to 2,000 fellows listen to me. That's how we are sensitizing. We also offer a course on environmental management for teachers and people working in industry. You know, that is for adults. That's how we are doing capacity building at all levels. You know, when we sensitize the people with the adequate knowledge of the environment, you know, they become environment literate. When they are environmental literate, they become sensible. When they are sensible, they will be responsible. Okay? So now, if you need more details, it's you can write to me. This is my web email ID. And these are the places where my publications are available.